Brought to you by Gold House, Renegades is an editorial series that features prominent Asian Pacific leaders who are carving their own paths in their respective industries, all while defying stereotypes along the way. This week, we have Walter Wang, Chairman and CEO of JM Eagle, and Shirley Wang, Founder and CEO of Plastpro Inc. Shirley and Walter Wang, thank you so much for having us. So we ask all of our Renegades, what did you want to be when you were growing up? And how does that compare to where you are today?
When we were dating, she asked me the same thing. Walter, what do you want to do when you're capable of doing things for the society or for yourself? I have three wants, my three dreams in life. And step one is in my lifetime, I want to build 3 churches, which we have done. I want to have a wonderful, beautiful marriage with kids. Thank God that we have, of course, an amazing wife and 3 beautiful kids. And thirdly, I always wanted to have take over my father's business for Mozart Plastics. That I have not accomplished yet, but my father did sell me this U.S. company, and we had made something with it. JM Eagle is the leading plastic pipe producer in the world. Our motto is to bring good water to all Americans, and we have getting closer and closer to that. And we have done that. Part of our mission is also to reduce water secondary pollution, which we are doing every single day, and to give back to the society, which also is our mission in life. And we have done part of that as well. So I think I'm getting there. Still a lot of work to do, but I think I'm getting there.
For me, honestly, my mom and my father got divorced when I was young. And so it was quite hard growing up. And it was hard enough that my mother took me back to Taiwan to live with his mother because it was hard for her to raise me. So I went back to Taiwan to grow up, and I saw my grandmother and grandfather have businesses and things like that. And that is something I wanted to do. But I knew that with my grandfather and grandmother, it's a very patriarchal society in Taiwan and Asia. And so I knew I was going to be a part of that. So I always felt like I had to figure out how I'm going to support myself and support my mom. So I've always wanted to do business because I saw them doing business, and I always wanted to do something that I could do on my own. So I guess that's how, my dream was to have my own business. And I'm so glad that I was able to start Plastpro.
Can you share more about your journeys as a young woman and as a young man, like a person who was born here and also someone who immigrated here?
I was born in Taipei, grew up in Taiwan, and my mom took me and we immigrated to Berkeley, California when I was 9 years old. Our budget was $800 a month. That's the money we have to live on. And so it wasn't easy. We live as a middle class. We have food on the table, we have a roof over our heads, but it was we need to be very frugal about our money. We need to use our money wisely. So, I'll give you an example. When I was 10, I told my mom, I want a bicycle. My mom said, no, don't have money for a bicycle. But next day, this rusted bicycle showed up in the front door. And I found out later my mom got it from the junkyard and gave me a bicycle. It was really rusted. And then mom told me, you order it up. It gave me a can of silver paint. You paint it and you ride that bicycle. That's how I grew up. So
let's talk a little bit more about the plant in Ohio. Together, both of you have planted so many opportunities in communities throughout the nation with infrastructure, jobs in underserved towns across America, and also through your philanthropy. And I want to understand a little bit more of the jobs that you guys are providing, keeping American jobs in America, and then also giving people training, giving them support, giving them the longevity to continue careers, and giving them that kind of opportunity.
So with Plastpro, at the time when we started to put that plant in Ohio, in the Rust Belt of Ohio, everybody was outsourcing. Everybody was moving their manufacturing to Asia or to somewhere else to take advantage of the cheap labor. But then we said, in order for us to provide the best service for our customers, is that we had to have a plant in the United States. So that's why we went to Asheville, Ohio, which is like, because fiberglass is like the expertise is in Ohio, because, you know, if you remember the Corvettes and things like that.
They make it's Asheville is known for it's a fiberglass town. For example, they not only make car parts out of fiberglass, they even make the guitar, that fiberglass guitar in Asheville, for example. So that's why we decided to go to Asheville.
But, you know, we believe in America. We believe in giving jobs and to Americans, and we also believe in giving back to that place. That's why when we went to Ashtabula, we gave 3 technology labs to the local schools. We've given to you know, the hospitals there, you know. So we believe that wherever we are, we're supposed to be a part of the community and to give back to the community that, you know, we live in.
So the JM Eagle products play a critical role in America's infrastructure, particularly in drinking water, agricultural irrigation, and electricity. And you've dedicated your work to building that infrastructure that supports a high quality of life. So how do you guys stay focused on that mission when the communities or the public systems and policies there don't always prioritize the same level of care that you guys are trying to give?
At the end of the day, you know, water is the essence of life. And in a developed nation, infrastructure, underground infrastructure is a must, right? In a developing nation, it's also a must. We all need water. We need to have drainage of waste. We need electricity. We need natural gas, natural stove to cook. So this piping infrastructure is critically important part of any nation. So JM is very much a part of that. We are a one-stop shop, if you will. We provide all kinds of piping for all kinds of applications and needs. We spoke about, you know, the crumbling infrastructure in America, right? 50 years old, 100 years old, piping's been laid for that long, and these piping needs to be replaced for taxpayers now or for our future generation. If we install the right pipeline now, right, our children and grandchildren will never have to pay for it again, because a plastic pipe buried in the ground, okay, it lasts forever. Some plastic products you don't want to be biodegradable. You want to bury it and that's it. It will work fine for 100 years. But plastic above ground is biodegradable, right? So there's a big difference. There's a big difference. You know, that's why I'm so passionate about our business, is that we can do good. In our mission, we can do good for the people. You know, we can bring good water, uncontaminated water, unpolluted water to every household. The water is not leaked out. A little bit longer, but I need to give you an example. Underneath the ground, okay, there's water lines buried this way, right? Parallel, right? It uses hydraulic pump to pump water to every house. Sewage lines are buried this way. You use gravity. So if they use a wrong pipeline, let's say concrete or ductile, right? And because sewage lines are very active in daytime, and when we sleep, it's very inactive. So when it's inactive, it causes a sulfuric acid to form in the pipeline. That sulfuric acid in time will eat through ductile or concrete or iron pipe, right? And that sewage will leak out the sewage pipes into the soil. And we have the ductile iron pipes buried above ground, also corroded. Sooner or later, that sewage leak throughout the sewage pipe or leak into the water line. That's how you get water secondary pollution. I'm not trying to gross you out here, but that's what it is. That's why I don't advise you, when you drink water, even filtration water, be very careful. All right. So I feel good every day, and my people feel good every day that our mission in our company, you know, at the end of the day, it's not profitability. It's what we do right, what do well, or what we contribute to society with our products that will lead to profitability. So that's a very different mentality.
I guess I would add something like, pipe, you don't want it to be biodegradable.
Right.
You want it to keep on going for another 100 years and let it go.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of your global water initiatives. You guys have some in Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. And I'm really interested in learning more like this intersection of infrastructure, sustainable development, and a sense of dignity for people. So what are some things that you guys have learned through those initiatives?
Well, I'm in the pipe business, so pipe it's basically carries water, right, to every household, to everybody, and it drains out sewer, it irrigates the crops. It's electricity. You need conduit, right, to cover the electricity lines. You need pipes for fiber optics these days for data centers, for example. So pipe it's really a very essential product in our basic infrastructure, right? So when I read this book called End to Poverty, it was written by Dr. Jeffrey Sachs. There was 5 big, huge issues, problems that cause extreme poverty. And one of them is water, lack of water, lack of good water. And so after I read this book, by fate, it was a C100 conference that Dr. Sachs was one of the panelists. And so I listened and I asked a friend of C100 at that time, hey, can you introduce me to Jeffrey Sachs? So he did, made an appointment. I would see him. I say, Dr. Sachs, I have a solution to your water problem in Africa. Because, yeah, right? Yeah,
Wait, how old were you at the time?
I was after cancer was 2006, around 2006 or 7 maybe. So
42, 43 years old.
43 years old. And he said, oh, Walter, are you telling me that dig more wells? We are doing that already. I mean, the United Nations or the water philanthropic organizations doing that. I said, no. I said, Africa, all the African nation is now water deficient, but it's infrastructure deficient. Now, if there's pipelines, you can carry water from the water source to anywhere in Africa, whether it's 5 miles, 10 miles, 300 miles, or 1,000 miles, right? So if you bury the right pipeline, you can carry good water from the water treatment plant, right? That are quality water to every village in Africa. And therefore, people like, especially women, usually women's job, right, in Africa, to carry the water jug and walk average of back and forth 3 miles, and the girls to carry water back to the village. But those are all mostly polluted water, right? And so they use the polluted water to mix the powdered milk to feed the babies. That's why babies get sick. A lot of babies get sick and die before the age of 5. So I said, if you have piping infrastructure, you can solve this problem. And he stared at me for a few minutes and he goes, I think you just solved my water problem. So Jeffrey and I, with the engineers, we went to the Senegal, was the first country. We donated 80 miles of pipe, the first project. We went to see that the pipe was buried properly. And that first project was done within 1 year. And it brought good water at that time to only 80,000 people. So I knew one thing is that in order to make this piping infrastructure project work in Africa, you got to have boots on the ground. You got to know people on the ground. Great. Jeffrey Sachs Meridian Village people are always on the ground for many years, and they're working closely with the United Nations. And they have local people on the ground. So that's why how we got project done very quickly and efficiently. So that project went out to 7 other countries. So 8 countries, we donated 420 miles of pipe, and now it's giving good water to over 500,000 Africans. And they just go outside of the village, turn on the faucet, rah, good water comes out. And they can use that to cook, and they also use that to irrigate the land. So the saying is, instead of giving them fish, teach them how to fish. So the farmers are using water, irrigated water, right, to irrigate crops instead of relying on rain irrigation. So the poverty is, extreme poverty is really solved for those villages.
Let's go back to your philanthropy, because a lot of business people, leaders, companies, they see philanthropy as a side project. But you both have integrated it into the DNA of your companies. Why is that integration so important?
Because I truly believe, I believe there's a good saying, which is like, success is only as good as the good that it creates. So, I don't think a company is successful just by the fact of how much revenue it has or how much profitability it has. It has to create good, or else it's not good. So I believe that what we produce is a good product, it's good for society, and the profits that we make, I hope that we can contribute to society and give back to where the society that has given us.
I think it's very important. I think it's part of the meaning of life. Okay, is to give, is to make a positive difference in people's life. There's always people out there, towns out there, cities out there that need support and help. If we are able, do it, and do it now. Talk is cheap. Action speaks louder than words. So Shirley and I would, if we have a lot of asks from many organizations, but we are very selective on what we give, how much we give, and the impact it makes. I think to us right now, the more the better. The more people we can help, the better. The more people we can help, that's what we want to do. I think it is a part of life, part of what we do, and we don't earn, to be a better person because we give. I think it's just human nature. It's just part of life. You don't earn grace. Grace is given for free. One time I was very upset that party at a friend's house. It was a lawyer that came up to us and said, we were talking about philanthropy, and this lawyer said that, Chinese people are usually not philanthropic. I was very upset. Shirley was very upset, and then because put it in perspective, yes, and I think Asians became wealthy later on, this last maybe 30, 40 years, much more so. But Chinese people are very philanthropic. And then this is a list of so many lists of Chinese, Asians, Americans are very philanthropic.
Yeah, I mean, adding to that is that, usually Asians, we try to be humble, and then we try to give anonymously, because if we say that we gave, right, it seems like you're trying to boast yourself, you're trying to boast your name, things like that. But, and it may seem like awful that we put our names on buildings or put our names on stuff. But the thing is, I think, is to show that Asians also give.
So I saw the video when you presented for the new chair at UCLA. I'm also a UCLA alumni.
I'm going to give you some.
So you've both significantly supported Asian American studies and cross-cultural understanding. So how has your approach to this support changed or adapted to the current political landscape? And there's a second part to this question. What advice would you give to younger Chinese Americans who are struggling navigating between two cultures, especially during these times?
So when we gave to UCLA, to be honest, it was Trisha Toyota. She came up to me and said that, hey, you know what? UCLA does not have a Chinese or Asian American studies.
That's insane.
I know.
I saw the video and yeah.
I mean, the fact that there are so many Asians, right? And I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, you don't have Asian studies or anything like that. And it's like, oh, we got to do it. And especially since we did become the American into Chinese, we have to do an Asian study. So that's how we started to do that. And as I said before, I truly believe that Asians need to amplify their voices. And we need to also know our heritage. And we need to know the shoulders that we stand on.
We want to make people know that Asian Americans are charitable as well. We care about the community. We are part of the community as well, just like all other Americans. There's a saying in Chinese that we take from the society, right? We give back to the society. And that's very much our philosophy, how we live by. And it's always taught by my dad and mom as well. So doing what we are able, and it's a blessing to give, Shirley and I do want to make a positive impact. And I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in fate. Because, for example, this $25 million we're giving to UCLA Health, the digestive center, the reason came about because my youngest son always had a digestive issue and see many doctors, but never a cure or real cure until he saw this UCLA digestive center. It's a holistic treatment, right? But one day, I think Shirley and Matthew was in a doctor's room waiting for the doctor, and the receptionist would pick their phones, and they overheard that, oh, your appointment will be next year. It takes 1 year for an appointment, right? And look how many people, right, need this treatment, and 1 year for an appointment. So because of that, we decided to give this donation. So next year, the contract or the promise is that the wait time will reduce to 2 weeks for 1 year.
I actually want to talk about how you guys helped very immediately with the LA fires.
Yeah.
A lot of us were affected by it. And what I'm gathering is that you guys really, really directed your help like immediately, and also making sure that the people that needed the most got it. So can you tell us more about what you did, what the company did, and what the impact will be? I also understand that it's moving in stages as well.
Yeah, when the LA fires hit, actually we were out of the country. But immediately, I told Shirley, we need to do something now. There are so many people in need, Palisades, Altadena. And so, I contacted Sean and our people and said, what can we do? And I would like to give $6 million, and how do we do that? And so Sean contacted, the fire departments, and they say, well, they need a bulldozer to clean away debris and things like that. So we immediately gave money and bought a bulldozer, and they need automatic machines to fill sandbags. So we bought machines so that the firemen and the first responders could fill sandbags. And then after that, we gave money because to rebuild the firefighters' house that lost their houses during the fire, LAPD, and we did that too. So I want to say something about the fire because we have a good friend, right? That house got burned down. He actually came home from business, and he arrived to his house in Malibu, and he saw ember on top of the roof, right? And it's burning a little bit. And so the fire trucks came. The firemen came down, attached the fire hose, to the hydrant. No water came out. So he just sat there and tried to put the fire out, but he just watched his whole house burn down. And there's so many of these cases. And there are some people who blame this lack of water because they're fixing the reservoir. The reservoir was under repair. That's a misunderstanding because very little water of what people use in that area comes from the reservoir, right? It comes from the water source somewhere else, from the lakes, Owens Lake or somewhere else, that's piped in. So a lot of these water in time, right, was lost, the water was leaked through corroded pipelines, corrosive pipelines. So just for your information, our country, we lose 5 trillion gallons of water every year. 5 trillion gallons leaked out through corrosive pipelines.
Made out of iron?
Both iron and ductile iron and concrete. But today, new infrastructure, we still install the same pipes that will corrode 5, 10, 20 years later.
Why?
Of course, our pipeline, those ductile iron pipes are old. Some are 50, 100 years old. And it needs to be replaced. But don't replace the same old product, right? So basically, we lose the usage of water for all us Americans for 4 months, right? Because average American use about 90 gallons of water per day. So usage is about 11 trillion gallons a year, right? And unfortunately, these good water is leaked out through the pipeline. That's why the firemen didn't have water for the hydrants to put out the fire. And so there are more to come because the relief efforts, the funds, it's continuous. So we want to help the beginning, the middle, and towards the end as well.
What advice would you give to younger generations who want to follow in your footsteps in making the world a better place?
I believe very strongly that being a good parent directly means that you do spend time with your kids. So we make a point, even though everybody's busy, we're busy. We try to have at least 4 dinners a week, with our kids, minimum 4. So during dinner time, we have conversations. The business topic always comes out in our dinner conversations and so forth. So, they know that what dad and mom's going through, what are we facing, and now, of course, these many years they've grown up, they have their own unique experiences, and they can give us feedbacks and ideas and so forth and so on. So, I think time is very important. As of advice for the young these days, I think first of all, journey of life, it's great. You meet a lot of people that you can love and been loved. Nevertheless, you do face trials and tribulations, challenges, but walk through life one step at a time. Don't rush through it. Enjoy every moment.
What advice would you give to younger Chinese Americans who are navigating, being Chinese American and like the 2 different cultures and everything?
I think, there is beauty in both, and I think you should use both. Just like being a woman. I mean, if I was to be born again, I would still be a woman, because I think there's beautiful things about being a woman. You can use your softness to do things, and you also have the toughness as well. So you can use that. For being Chinese, I think American, there's beauty in both. I mean, being Chinese, I think we all went to Kumon, we all know our math really well, we're very detail-oriented, we're very hardworking. But at the same time, there's a part of us as being American, we have to fight for what we want, and we have to say what we want. And we have the opportunities that America gives. So we should combine all of it and use all of those talents and go for it.
Thank you both so much for talking about your lives, your history, your family, your companies, JM Eagle and Plastpro, and giving us the time to share more about who you are. We've really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure speaking with you.
Time.